Hello, this is Chidero, and I am bringing you a new tutorial of a design by Instagram Adele.Griffiths. She had made this awesome fishtail. It is a bling and beaded fishtail bracelet. So, as you can see right there, you have multiple bling on two bands. And this acts as the part that goes on top of your wrist, and then the whole way through you have beads going through the bracelet. And yes, I kind of had a goof on that one there. And at the end, or in the middle, you have your C-clip with double bands attached. So it is a awesome design, and we're going to go ahead and make one today. So what I'm going to use today is going to be, well, we're going to use our monster tail for one. Adele suggests using the monster tail because it does have the larger space here, which means your bracelet can grow down just as we would a typical fishtail. I have also, in the past, when I made my, let's see, I have a triple bling fishtail and the triple ladder, but the triple bling, I use 2 pins. 2 pin bars, 2 pins, and it also gives you a space in between. So if you don't have a monster tail, you can also use just 2 pin bars on your regular rainbow loom. So with that being said, we're going to do, every other band is going to be a beaded band. So you want to have 18 in total bands with a bead on it. So we're going to, just to give you an idea, we're going to loom from one side of your bling, we're going to loom 9 down, and then we're going to grab the other side of this band and we're going to loom 9 down this side, and then it will attach in the middle. So you want to have 9 with a total of 18. So you want to kind of pile those. My suggestion is to go ahead and have all of your bling together and done. Let's see, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you're going to have plain bands as well, which I would prefer, which I forgot to grab. The bands that I have the bling on are Rainbow Loom's metallic white, and for my plain bands I'm going to be using the Rainbow Loom glitter pink. But you can choose whatever colors you choose, you'd like. You can make it all the same, but we're going to place one beaded band and one plain band will be the sequence. So I have a couple beads that I'm going to add with you, so you don't have to worry if you're not sure how to add the beads to the bands. Also, in order to make the longer part right here, this part right here that fits on your, here, I'm going to put this on real quick so you have an idea. So this goes on your wrist, and it's really awesome to wear because it's nice and flat and it's comfy. But this part right here, this goes on the top of your wrist. So in order to make that, we're going to take 2 bands, and I suggest using, just my opinion, the regular Rainbow Loom, or just as long as they're stretchy bands, these are opaque white, so they have a lot of elasticity to them, and they thin out as you pull them. So depending on what bling you want to add to them, it makes it a little bit easier. So you want to take your threading tool, which in my case is just regular jewelry wire that can be found at any craft store, and this kind of wire is used to do beaded jewelry. So without adding bands, you would just add jewelry to the wire. So that is a very thin gauged wire. We're going to bend it in half, make a V. We're going to stick these 2 bands down inside to the bottom. And then my choice today is going to be, see, they're like an end cap on jewelry. So you would buy these and then you would put a bead on the open side of it. So I'll show you what I mean. We're going to slide that down onto our bands, and then I'm going to use a larger pearl, which can be found at craft stores on strings. You'll see at the craft stores or on Amazon.com or whatnot that you'll have different size pearls. These ones are the larger sized pearls. They have a nice size hole on them. So we're going to stick that down on our thread. And as you can see, it adds like a nice little cap onto it. Then I'd like to add, these are just like rhinestone spacers. So they're pretty cool. You can find them in the jewelry department as well. Going to add that. I'm going to add another one. So we have two. And I'm just going to kind of let it sit there because you really don't have to pull them all down at the same time. You can pull them down at the same time. And then I'm going to add another pearl, which is the same size as the previous one. And then last will be another one of our end caps, which the open side will be placed first. So we're going to carefully place this down because we want to make sure we don't go past the band over here. So I'm just going to take a hold with my right hand with the threading tool. Left hand is just carefully sliding on. Okay, now that I have it in the middle, I'm going to take my threading tool, carefully pull that out, and there you have it. Now this is just my rendition or what I'd like to use for the end part of my bracelet. There are a billion possibilities. Just use your imagination. You can even look online to get different ideas and whatnot. So you can put a lot onto two bands, and as I mentioned, these are the opaque rainbow looms, so they're very elastic or stretchy, so you can add more bling to it. So that concludes that part of our bracelet. And as I mentioned, we're going to need 18 bands with a bead on it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you three. I'm going to thread 3 beads on bands with you. So again, we're going to take our threading tool, and this time we're just going to take a single band, and again I'm using the Rainbow Loom metallic white, and stick that down into the center. Make sure both ends of your thread are together, and this is a smaller size bead, but it's the same exact color. And this is like a I don't want to say baby pink, but it's like that kind of a very minute. It's not a very shiny pink, but it's has a tint of pink to it. As you can see, they're different in size. So I'm going to take and put my threading tool down inside and carefully slide this into the middle of that band. So make sure it's in the middle. These beads that I'm using, they have a larger hole. Typically, a lot of the beads that are that size, the holes on them are a bit tinier, but these ones are rather large. So with that being said, depending on the size of the hole in your bead is really going to depend on what type of band you can use. If you use a thicker band, a silicone or the LE Rainbow Loom limited edition or whatnot, you'd be able to slide it on easier. If your bead has a smaller hole, you might want to use, just like I said, like an opaque band or a thinner band. Will work perfectly. So we have one more to do. And that will give us 18 total. And these are made, like, you can tell they're factory made. Some of the holes sometimes aren't even cut through. You have to push them through, but I got these ones at Michael's. And Michael's has like a whole section of just pearls. They have all different color pearls, and I think 5 row down of different sizes. So that concludes that, and like I said, we have 9 and 9. So I'm going to take my monster tail, and then we're going to take our bands with all of our bling on it, and our goal is to take, there's 2 bands on each side. We're going to take one band and we're going to carefully wrap that. It's a little bit hard to do on camera. I want to be able to show you, but maybe I'll just do it this way. We want to take one band and put it on one peg on one side, like that. Now if I can stick it down inside, so you might even be able to use your hook if you have a lot on there. I have a lot on mine this time. If I can grab it. Okay, so now I'm going to take the other end and I'm going to place it on the opposite side on that peg there. Okay, so that's how we're going to start out this bracelet. So typically whenever you do a fishtail design, our first band that we put on, we do a figure 8. We're not doing that this time. We're just simply placing this beaded band straight across. Okay, so now that we have that on our loom, we're going to make sure, and it's just my suggestion, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to have my pile of 9 beaded bands and put the others to the side. And then I'm going to grab a handful, which would probably, I think it's about 10 plain bands that we use. And that way, while we're looming, we're not counting. And it makes it a lot easier, you know, wondering how many beaded bands we had added. So the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to add a plain band. Okay. And then we're going to grab a beaded band and place that on top. So exact same technique, everything as a regular fishtail, except on this design, you've got some beads. So as any other fishtail design, once you have 3 bands on your peg, that's when we're going to start in a loop over. So take your bottom band and loop that over. Make sure that it's on this side of that bead. Go to the opposite side, grab that bottom band, bring that up and over. So that bottom band that is the band that we used first that has all of our bling on it. So give that a little push down. And so because we added a beaded band last, our next step is to add a plain band on top. So in my case, I'm using 2 different colors. So every time I see white in there, I know it's time for me to add a pink. It's kind of easier, but you're always going to have 1 bead, 1 regular, so that's kind of your checkpoint as well. So go ahead and loop both of those over. So next will be a beaded band, and always make sure that your bead is in the middle of the band, so when you place it on your pegs, it should be right center every time. So go ahead and loop your bottom one over and bottom one over. Push down, grab a plain band on top, and bottom band, and bottom band. So very, very simple. I think we're all pretty used to the fishtail stitch. The only thing that's different is just the beaded band. So I'm going to go ahead and loom this out rather quickly so we can move on to the next step. This would also work on the finger loom. I think Rob from Justin's Toys, I think he's already done a tutorial on doing a fishtail stitch. I'm not sure if it was Rob or not, but you know, any loom that's out there, you're capable of doing this. So if you needed a couple extra minutes to catch on, feel free just to pause. Or if you need a little bit of extra help, you can always rewind back. I'm really loving the colors. Coloring is not, it doesn't come very easy to me, especially adding bling. I have taken apart probably more bracelets than I've actually made. So you kind of don't know sometimes what it's going to look like when it's all said and done until you start, you know, looming it up. Okay, we have 2 left, and we're going to make sure that we end with a beaded band. So we just add a plain band, and we're going to end here with our last, which would be our 9th beaded band. Okay, so pretty simple, huh? Now we have one side completed of our beaded, our blinged and beaded fishtail. So one thing I'd like to mention, which I should have already said, I'm sorry. As I mentioned in my case, I have like a ton of beads and bling on my my one band here. Excuse me. If you don't feel confident, which a lot of times if you're using beads, they're going to stay on your band. You don't have to worry about them falling out. But you can always add a C-clip or something there just to secure that, because it is so common for us to pull on this as it's growing. You could do that until you're done or you're ready. So now that we're done with this side, we ended with our last beaded band. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take 2 single bands, which I need to grab. Sorry, let me grab some white here. I am going to use, let's see, my last one was, I'm going to use both colors. I'm going to use one glitter pink and one white metallic. So add 2 plain bands on top here. Okay, so this puts a total of 4 bands on each side. We're going to take the 2 bottom bands and we're going to loop those over. Go on to this side, take your 2 bottom bands and loop those over as well. Push that down a bit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 bands and we're going to place them on the peg back here. So we're just going to take our hook, place the 2 bands on it, and place it on this peg in the back. So now we have all of our bands on one peg. So our last step for this side is to take a C-clip, which I recommend, or I like using this larger C-clip that they come in the packs with the new bands from Rainbow Loom, because we're going to be putting a total of 8 bands through. So I'm going to take the C-clip and attach it to all 4 of these bands. Okay, once you have it attached, you can go ahead and take it off. So we have one side completed, and I'm loving the color, and our C-clip nice and neat at the end. So we're going to go ahead and repeat the exact same thing. So I'm going to stick this up in here, and I'm going to take one of the 2 bands, place it on one peg, and take the other side of that band, place it on the opposite peg. So literally the exact same process. So we take a plain band, put that on top, then we take our, well, first make sure you have all of your 9 beaded bands. And we're going to take a beaded band, put that on top of our single band. So we have 3 bands on our peg. Take the bottom one, bring it up on over, the bottom one up on over. So now we just added a beaded band, we add a plain band, and up on over. Now we add a bead, so simple and so pretty. Just gonna zip through this. Kind of like to take my fingernail, it kind of holds it in place. But you can also use your hook. So I also, which I forgot to show you, I came up with a few other combinations that add the multiple beads on the beginning of the bracelet. That you could do some dude bling, which I really want to start doing more dude bling because we do so many pretty, you know, female, feminine bracelets. There is a lot of dude bling out there that you can add and kind of grab. Let the guys have some stuff to wear too, you know. So I'm going a little bit too fast for you. You can always pause, or if you are way advanced and are looming faster, you can always fast forward until the end where I show you how to close it up. Couple more left. So this is our 8th bead. So we're going to loom that one over. Then we're going to add a plain band. And loom that over. And then our last band will be our beaded band. So this is bead band number 9. Loom this one over and be done. So there is the second half of our bracelet. So we're going to do the same process as we did the last time. We're going to put 2 single bands, meaning no bling, 2 regular bands on top. So that's 1 plain band, that's 2 plain band. That gives us a total of 4 bands on each peg. So we're going to take the bottom 2 bands and we're going to loop those up and over. We're going to take the bottom 2 bands on the opposite peg, bring those, loop them up and over, and then we're going to finish off by taking these 2 bands, holding them, taking them to the back peg here, so all of our bands end up on 1 peg, just like that. So, since we already have our C-clip on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this bracelet out. Put my down. So bring this out of the monster tail And kind of twist it a little bit, because we want to add the C-clip, so you want to make sure that your bracelet is straight, okay? Because you don't want to add it and then it gets all twisted and then it's twisted on your wrist. So we want to make sure it's straight. So I'm going to bring this C-clip end around like this. I see that my bracelet is straight. And excuse me, I'm just simply going to pull that a little bit to make it tight. I'm just going to add this 4 bands to this end of the C-clip. So once you have all of your bands on, I'm going to pull that off of the monster tail. And there we have it. This is so nice. And if you can see there, it's a perfect way that Adele had designed it to put the 2 bands on the end. It gives it a perfect, neat ending. So there is our bracelet. It is gorgeous. It's a fabulous idea and it's comfortable to wear. There are endless possibilities with it. And I hope that you are happy with yours. So again, Adele